I can see video and mute us.
Okay,
Good evening. Let's call the Leica annual meeting for 2021 to order. Yes, we are a few months late. If anybody didn't notice, we had a few challenges the last year and a little bit. Yes, we really had hoped to have had this a hybrid meeting with people in person down at the Grange, but technology, we just couldn't quite get all together so that we were able to have all of you like this up on the big screen and on the computer so we could get from point to point and people see. We really worked at it. Alan, excellent at that, but from a technical standpoint, we just didn't get there this time.
I had a full head of hair.
Huh?
I had a full head of hair when we started.
Yeah, I know that feeling. So welcome to the Zoom meeting. This is Richard Parker. He may be in my camera a time or two. I am Greg Hall. I am the president. Alan, who is here, Alan Crum, is
Hello.
vice president. Connie Berry is secretary. Paul Davis is our treasurer. And we've got our other board members with us tonight, Mary Ross, Bill Daly, Carol McKinney, got Mike McKenzie down here. Who else do we have here that's board? Tonight, we do not have Victoria Souze. You may have read in Nextdoor, her sister just passed. So she is not going to be with us. We have nominee with us tonight, Gail Lorenz. Welcome, Gail.
Thank you.
That is our board that we have here tonight. Hope I didn't miss anybody. If you are new to Leica, if this is your first meeting, please speak up. Tell us who you are. Welcome. We do welcome all islanders that are here. Leica is an open organization to those who reside, on the island, and we even send the tome on off island when we're printing to a lot of different places. So besides Gail, is there anybody else here who's new?
Hi, I'm new. My name is Jerry Crawford.
Hi, Jerry, welcome.
Thank you. Just moved to Lummi Island May 5th. I live right up the road from Isaac.
Oh, okay, so you're up the hill from me.
Right. And coming from Dallas, Texas. My wife will be here the middle of June. She's in education, and so they haven't stopped school down there. But she'll be retiring. I'm still working. I work from home for a company that makes, well, don't laugh. It makes peripherals for the serious gamer. So that could be keyboards, laptops, mice, headsets, those kinds of things. And I'm just sort of camping out. So the reason why I'm not on video is because this room is just full of boxes and me. Came up here in an RV for the first time ever. Drove an RV up here so that our 2 dogs and 2 cats wouldn't have to fly and be all stressed out. So the stress was on the driver, making sure that everybody got here, but we didn't leave a man behind. We made it all the way up here, and everybody's doing fine.
Oh, that's good.
That's
Welcome.
good.
Thank
Well,
you.
I got one thing to say to you,
country.
Jerry. Jerry, one thing to say to you, gig 'em.
Oh, I'm an LSU grad, so you're the arch enemy, or have been for a long time.
Boy, the Texas contingent is getting bigger and bigger every
Yes,
month.
it is. It is.
Well,
There are a few of us Alaskans here, but not many.
I'm trying to keep it on the down low because we don't want too many Texans moving up here, believe me,
True.
in this day and age. But thank you for the warm welcome.
True.
Rama, you're new, aren't you?
Oh, no, I'm not new, but I'm from San Antonio. I moved up here from San Antonio in an RV, so I can relate. Welcome.
We'll trade stories.
Anybody else?
Good place to get away from.
Well,
For the uninitiated, gig 'em is the rally cry for Texas A&M University.
Oh,
Yes.
thank you.
Right.
hook 'em horns. Moving on. Let's throw the agenda on up. is tonight's agenda. It's pretty straightforward. I really have only a few major goals for the night. Our biggest one is to get through our new business, get our grants approved and get money on out to organizations. Bring us on up to date on some of the things that we have been doing and get our board elected for the coming year. Those are the biggies for the night. So they'll take up a great amount of time in themselves. And we'll focus there a little later on. Are there any additions or any comments concerning the agenda? Then I would accept a motion to accept the agenda as is and we proceed on.
I move we accept the agenda as is.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Bill seconds. Moved and seconded. Any comment? Anyone in disagreement? Then we will approve the agenda and move forward. We have next the general meeting minutes of April 28th, 2021, last month, which was in our series, the first of two that are required to approve our grants. We sent those on out via the both Brown Betty, and we did not put those in the dome, but they went out via Brown Betty. You all have had copies of them. If you need another copy, I'm sure we could toss it up if we needed to. Otherwise, any comment concerning the general meeting minutes of April 28th?
I have one. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes. There was a mistake that I noticed when I was reviewing it today, and it is in the nominating committee section. It showed that Bill Daly was up for nomination, and that should have been Carol McKinney. And I thought that I had submitted that for correction, but it didn't appear. So I would just like to just have that little amendment added in.
I will, yeah, I will make that change.
So noted. Do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes with changes?
I move that they be accepted with the change.
Second,
Moved and seconded. Voting is really simple. I'm going to do it basically by acclamation. If nobody has any objection, motion will pass unanimously and we'll move forward. The next, the most exciting part of all, money. This is Paul Davis.
Oh, our president says I should give you reports for last month plus last year. So here's the report for April. I haven't got my reading glasses on. Well, our revenue for April was $792 and our expenses were $587. Our general balance at the end of April was $22,316. And we have anticipated expenses during the year of $13,628, leaving in a surplus of $8,688. Are there any questions? Okay, Mr. President, I think we're supposed to approve that.
I would entertain a motion to approve April treasurer's meeting.
I so move. Alan.
I'll second.
And seconded. Are there any objections? If not, that motion carries unanimously. Next,
Annual report for the year of 2020. We started the year with $17,090 and we ended the year 21,500. So it was a good year financially because you know why? We didn't have to print or pay postage on the tome all year or most of the year. Our revenue for the full year was 11,118. Our expenses were 6,708. The gain for the year was 4,410. Any questions?
Again, I would entertain a motion for accepting the 2020 treasurer's report.
I move that we accept it. I'll second it.
Bill and Beverly Darnell seconded. Are there any objections? Hearing none, motion carries unanimously. Thank you very much, Paul. That was actually, yes, we had to do a Heinz 57 on last year, catch up. Old business. We lost some people this last year. One of the issues in old business, we lost a crew that actually did the lawn mowing for the Ferry Orchard Park. And Leica for the last 11 years now has been mowing and tending to that area in maintenance through an agreement with the county, to which I still don't see what we gain in benefit other than, gee, we get to maintain it and have it look nice for us. I'm going to try and renegotiate that myself a little bit and see if we can get maybe some equipment supply or whatever, some assistance along the way. But that's the future. In the meanwhile, we lost a crew. Mary Ross, fortunately, went on out there. And Mary, we have a new crew. Who's the crew?
It is Joe Anderson. He has a lawn mowing business here on the island, Mojo, and he has graciously volunteered to mow, take one mowing shift each month. And so we now have a full crew of four teams doing the Ferry Park Orchard for us. So our outreach paid off.
Absolutely excellent. Do we need any more assistance in that arena?
The only thing that has come up is that we have a little trail that needs to be pruned back, kind of that parallels Nugent, that goes out from the park. And Paul has done that for a lot of years. So if we have anybody that would be willing to go and prune the blackberries occasionally just to keep that trail open.
Actually, Mary, we have a volunteer who's agreed to do that, and some mysterious person, I don't know who, trimmed it before he got there, but he said he will keep checking it and keep it trimmed.
Hey, that's great.
And right now, I forget who it is, but I sent it.
Wasn't it Carrie and they live up here at Scenic off of Hills.
Is it Jeremy?
No, it's Carrie. I thought it was Carrie and, oh, maybe, yeah, I think his name is Jeremy.
Yeah, Paul put out an email about it, and so we have it. We'll look at it.
I don't have a record of it though.
I do.
Great. That's wonderful. Lummi Island people volunteering to take care of our island again. That's awesome.
Yes.
Great. Horn Island volunteers. Let's move on to Meals on Wheels. COVID hit us a little bit hard in that regard. A lot of people both lost work, were stuck at home, economies were hurt. Meals on Wheels this last year doubled. Demand was high. We are increasing our contribution as an organization, but if you would, Connie, why don't you bring us on up to speed on that and what's going on with Meals on Wheels on Island?
Sure. Meals on Wheels is delivering to about 20 people each week, which is a huge increase over what we were doing 18 months ago. We've got a great team of delivery volunteers. And this summer, Liz Marshall with Full Bloom Farms has offered vegetables from Full Bloom Farm. And so she asked for volunteers to help pick, wash, and pack the vegetables. And last week they had 60 pounds of fresh vegetables to go in with the frozen dinners to all the Meals on Wheels clients. So that is really great. And then the Willows stepped up and is providing dinners on Friday that are also delivered to the Meals on Wheels clients. And I reached out to a couple of the clients that are not currently getting frozen dinners and asked them if they would like to receive the dinners from the Willows, and they said absolutely. The dinners that they provide are actually the family meals that the staff at the Willows are served on Friday evening. So it's a special dinner that's provided to the Willows staff and also to the Meals on Wheels clients.
Any questions? Connie, thank you so much for keeping that going during tough times.
I just have a quick comment. Connie, would you get with me and let's talk about doing an article about that? And I was just talking earlier to the lady at Full Bloom as well. So we coordinate something there.
Yes. And Meals on Wheels would like some pictures of the Full Bloom Farm produce and all the people that are involved there. So we'll do that as well.
Okay.
Move on to new business. That'll be the annual report, and that'll be me. In February of last year, we had our annual meeting. That was our last when we typically have it. It was one of those things that none of us expected. Gee, 2 weeks to flatten a curve. We kept hoping things were going to change. We had one man, kept our board together, kept us going, kept us focused. Yes, we had to cancel the spring blood drive. Yes, we had to cancel the roadside cleanup. Yes, we didn't have a fall blood drive. There were several things that were canceled. I'm not going to focus on the things we didn't do. It's what we did. We focused on the organization. We focused on the communication. We focused on building the new website. You all know about it because you signed up through it to get here. Alan Crum is the heart and soul who has put so much energy and design into it and building it, but every member of the board contributed. Some greater, some lesser, doesn't matter. We all put input on in to building a community website. The focus was every month. We met by teleconference, on telephone, had to visualize it in our heads. Okay, and sometimes, all right, take your device and log in as Alan would guide us on through. Okay, you see this page? When you get here, we can do this and link over here. Okay, it was interesting. We got through it all. There was a force behind it that makes a team cohesive. Unfortunately, in January, we lost Lou. It was a hard hit for me, still is. He got us here. Here we are with a website, with a new vision, with new goals. Thank you, Lou. Thank you, Christine.
Thank you.
So where are we? Yeah, website. Yeah, headed for hybrid. Yeah, we're going to get back into meetings. Yeah, we're going to do a variety of different things. This year, Mary Ross, Carol, I gotta say, the two of you pulled off a spring cleanup on the roadside without the food, without all of the presents, without all of the pomp and circumstance of, gee, come on down, we've got all these treats for doing it, and our roads were cleaner for it. Wow. We got that done. COVID's starting to go away. Things will change. We got a bright future. That is my annual report.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Next, we have our elections. There are 5 positions up for election. 4 board members have offered to remain. Mike McKenzie, thank you very much for your service, for your contribution. And Mike also knows that, gee, just because you're not on the board doesn't mean you can't contribute to LICA. So Alan, you threw that on up. Would you throw that list on up again? That's what we have. We present this 2 months. The nominating committee presented it last month. Are there any nominations from the floor? Hearing no nominations from the floor, since the number of nominees does not exceed the number of offices available, may I have a motion to elect the slate of nominees by a voice vote?
I so move.
I will second.
It is moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Are there any opposed? Motion carries by acclamation. Welcome, board members.
Welcome
Now,
to the board, Gail.
Gail, you're on.
Don't
Now
don't
you
we
get to
get-
work.
don't we all get to say yes?
Well, I said, is anybody opposed? Anybody want to say yes? You can say yes.
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 I will say this. Mike brought it up before. We are an island of volunteers. Our fire department. The house that was lost. And Chris Emmer was up all night fighting fire and preaching the next morning without a minute's sleep in between. That's the kind of people we have. That's the kind of volunteers we have. You're all here tonight and you know about the website. Well, I got to go one step further. We got to get that out farther. On this island today, Nextdoor reaches about 200 people. That's it. We need volunteers for a lot of things. We need contributors to the website. We need people who write, people who may have some technical skills, people who may want to present some other things. We're still in our infancy and growing, but we need the word spread. Be on our website, check it out. This is where it's going to happen. I am so pleased that Alan is working hard with a variety of software to try and put together an actual calendar that we have dreamt about for years. It ties all the organizations together that each organization can input on into, that will give us a clear, concise picture in one place, what's going on the island. So for planning purposes, I want to do this on that weekend. Oh yeah, 3 other organizations are already planning that weekend. We're going to get away from that. We're going to finally get to a point where we are the unity in community. So that's where it's going, but this is the biggie for the night. This is the second vote and final approval of the 2021 grant package. This grant package is what we have strived so hard to finally overcome. When we found out the governor had wavered a variety of the meetings that we could be online like this and hold meetings and vote. That was huge. To be able to be here, to be able to get this done means that we can move that money from our coffers on into the organizations that deserve, need, that better our community. So if you would, Alan, throw that portion on up. The following grants were requested by organizations and groups. These are the grants.
Do you want,
In addition to what you see in the grants, there's another comment. I'll wait until we're done with that. I would accept a motion to accept the grants program as you see, so that we may move forward in granting the grants that we have remaining.
So moved.
I'll second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? Is there any objection? Motion carries unanimously. Paul gets to cut checks. There is one more financial aspect I do want to touch on briefly. And we will tend to it in board meeting when we have our next regular board meeting. However, we had a fire on the island. Along with several other organizations, I requested, the board granted a $300 donation that went on off. I want to acknowledge that the board did do that. It is the maximum limit we as a board can approve, $300 to Rob and Lori. So far, we've raised a great deal of money. This is not a precedent. But when we have a fire, or an emergency or a crisis, there is no guarantee LICA will have the funds in the future. We do now. It was the right thing to do. So we did it. If there's any comment or question, feel free. Let's go to website development. First, I'm gonna talk to Alan. Alan is the creative genius really behind all this. This is what he has done so long in his life. I used to call myself a geek, and then I met Alan.
Oops.
Oh, well, such is life. Alan, what's new and exciting happening with the website?
hold on, I have to unmute myself here. And hopefully it'll stay unmuted while I move off screen. Yeah, okay. This has happens to be the fire relief fund for Rob and Lori. Myself manually, so I don't keep my finger off the keyboard. That was what was confusing it. Let this reload. We've been busy trying to get as much as possible in time allowed with minimum crew so far in the way of posts and updates going in. There was a question that was sent today about if we're going to have the county as a poster on the system, and my response to them was they already have been for a couple of months. We've been testing some things. They will actually have the ability to directly post, as will most organizations on the island that request it. In the directories, we've been trying to fill in all of the different organizations and things as we go. And I mentioned earlier, Full Bloom Farm just got a hold of me today and wants to work closely with us and fill out their page, which is wonderful. We've got a lot of I'm hearing somebody talking. The directories include organizations, agencies, and whatnot, businesses, vendors, artists, musicians. If you know any musicians, poke them with a stick and tell them to get a hold of us and get them on here. Every musician I've talked to said, "Oh, I want to, jam with other musicians," but I've only got one we've only got one musician on here so far. Places of interest, we're working on that. Nature and conservation, we're going to be working on. The ferry and travel information, I think probably everybody's looked at this one. I won't harp on that.
By the way, I love the weather on there. It's the best weather around.
Well, actually, yeah, you've got a lot of different options on the weather. I'll give you Marietta because that is the closest official weather station. There is no official weather station on the island, unfortunately, and I need to move a cat. But I do have windy.com, which besides the official forecasts from NOAA and stuff, they also merge in all of the amateur radio stations, right? Weather stations. And that gives us a very good indication of what's going on as well. Hold on a second, I'll bring that up. The weather's a quirky little thing. You walk 5 blocks and it's different. So Marietta is close, but not close enough. Let's see, I don't know if I have it here. No, actually I don't. Oh, there it is. By the way, the website is, we get about 50% of our traffic is mobile. So everything we do, we write it for the desktop, and then we manipulate it, and change things as needed so that they fit really, really good on a mobile device. This is the weather environment. Now on the mobile menus, the menus are different. There's actually 2 sets of menus and stuff. But this is Windy, and Windy on every computer except it seems other than mine will automatically center on Lummi. And then down here is a really detailed environmental things about the weather and stuff. We also carry all the tsunami alerts. We also do earthquake tracking. And then there's a section down here for citizen science and the smoke map and everything else. Then this is more information will be coming on this page as well. In the community section, we have information about the association, which actually you'll see here in a minute when Mike is speaking. We have the meetings and volunteering sign up, which you all have used. The calendar system, which is a work in progress, and it will be for a little while. They're right in the middle of updating the entire system. So we sort of have to wait a bit until their dust settles, so our dust settles. But we are loading things in there that are reoccurring events, things like that. And by the way, Red Nose Day is coming up on the 27th. So get your road and noses going. But the ferry fueling is here, the punch card stuff, when there's maintenance and stuff, we pop that in there. Every organization on the island will be able to post to this calendar directly if they wish. And of course, we will encourage that. How to support Lummi, the Lummi Island Community Association, and therefore your entire community is here as well. The island history, including the tome collection. We've got quite a number of years already loaded, and in time, the entire collection will be loaded, except for the last 6 months of recent stuff. And then we've got the community photo gallery, which a lot of people are contributing to. And I'm working with getting more and more people contributing to it and the other sections, giving us photos and information and things like that for the galleries. There are, 23 galleries actually in the system right now. And this is going to take a little bit of time to load. The weather environment community photo gallery, and when it's an election year and whatnot, well, we've got the voting thing there. Right now it's just generalized information. Another very important thing that we've got up here is for emergency and agencies. We stress all the time, call 911 for emergencies. We've got the 24-hour crisis lines and all of that. information, and we're currently, several of the board members are working on this list along with the list that we're producing that will go in the community phone directory, which will be coming out soon this year. And then we also have all the administrative agencies and things like the fire department, the sheriff, Coast Guard, and things like that. So that's just a quick overview. We get an average of about 500 hits a day, and it's growing. And like I say, it's about 50% mobile. And there's well over 300 pages in the system so far. And I'm estimating that by the time we're close to done, we'll probably have about 1,500 pages in the system. And as Gail and I were talking the other day, it's a living document. This will never be done. We don't intend for it to be done. So anytime we find something of value or importance that the islanders should know or need to know, we will add it in. And I'm done talking, I think. Enough on that.
Thank
Alan,
you very much.
Alan,
Yeah.
Paul here.
Yep.
You said 1,500 pages.
Yep.
The tome alone, I think, is 3,800 pages.
No, not the number of your printed pages. I'm talking about the number of, it would be the number of issues.
Oh,
Think that the number of issues, not the actual, because one issue is one page in the
Okay.
system. Okay.
Yep.
All
And-
right.
Next,
Comment.
we're gonna go to, any other questions?
Can I,
I
I have a
did.
question.
I had,
Mhm.
oh, I had a suggestion for Alan.
Yep.
And that
Yes.
is to reach out to, oh gosh, John Mulhern, who is working on getting more ferry specific weather information for ferry riders. And it could be, he could make that happen sooner versus later if there was a LICA grant to speed up that process.
Can you send that
Okay.
to me in an email?
I've got
Yeah.
that covered.
You got
I've
it
that
covered?
All
All
right.
right, but make sure I get it as well. So I know it's in the list, and I'm sure we can make something happen. I mean, one of the projects that I would like to see is getting the weather station at the ferry dock working again.
That's what she's referring to, and it's
Yeah,
going to be
yeah.
replaced.
There's also the weather station at the Heritage Trust that is not reporting anything, if I remember correctly. So I would love to do that. I'd love to get some more weather stations around the area. There is one air quality sensor. It's a privately owned one on the island. I'd like to get another one at the other end of the island as well. So there's a bunch of things. Absolutely.
Alan,
Yeah.
I have a weather related question. As you know, I report rain data every month in the tome at
Yep.
3 or 4 locations. I've lost the one up at Scenic Estates, and I wonder if there's someone up there who could fill in that area, because that's a different zone than down here.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
And it's an important one because of the reservoir.
So who knows, there's somebody up there who could fill in for Darlene.
Elizabeth.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Elizabeth
Okay.
hasn't. So,
Elizabeth Kilinowski?
yes. So
You will do
I think Isaac is working on getting a station up at the reservoir. They're talking about it in any case.
Oh, well, okay.
So Alan, I can let you know later about the weather station at the Heritage Trust.
Specifically, what I need is the monthly rain
Right,
for the tome.
right.
And if you could get that, I could add that.
And that's
I'll
always,
ask Isaac about it.
and that's always something that's a good grant topic.
Alan,
Yes,
Al?
Christine.
I just wanted to say, last winter for Christmas, I gave Lou a weather station.
Hmm.
And it's one that can tie into Weather Underground.
Ooh, ooh.
The only thing is, I've got it up and working. but it's not tied into Weather Underground. I need technical assistance, but what I was thinking is it's right now the only place in the north east side that has weather, and the rain gauge that we have is vertical, but the wind and rain are horizontal. So our rain is not accurate, but I would propose giving it or using it in some way to give a reference point near here if somebody was willing to essentially get the thing connected. Everything is available.
Okay, great.
Christine,
I will-
are you willing to collect the rain at the end of each month and send it to me for the tome?
I'm willing to collect it. The only thing is I've got 2 things to measure rain, and then I've got 4 buckets that happen to be there for the dogs. I have to empty out close to 4 feet of rain from those buckets, and the rain gauge is vertical. Our rain is never vertical
Yeah.
on this end. So I can give it to you, but I don't think it would be, the machine will be accurate, but I don't think that the measurement will be accurate.
Well, it's your judgment.
But I'll happily give it to you. Yeah.
Christine, I'll get with you.
Yeah.
Whether there are 2 things that are near and dear to my heart. It's libraries and weather. Elizabeth.
So there's Scott Josiah has a rain gauge now too, and he's now collecting enough that I think he could get to Paul about making sure that that's in the tome. And I'm, everybody's giving me their records at the end of the year, and I'm putting them into digital form. I mean, Al Marshall and Jerry Brown and those folks who've been keeping it for years. So I keep up on that so I can make graphs of that, but that's not instantaneous like people want.
I can actually do stuff like that with the website, including graphing on the fly.
Yeah, well, I can, if you could read Python programs, I can send you the Python programs so you can just run them.
Cool.
And the other one is that I think Michelle and Barry up on Sunny Hill Lane and Wild Wabbit Road, they have a weather station that I believe is hooked into Weather Underground.
Yeah. See, those are the kind of stations I was talking about that Windy connects to and aggregates the data with NOAA, so that the Windy display is more accurate than Marietta. But let's take this offline of the board meeting, and let's get together offline and talk about this and make some interesting things happen.
Like it. Next piece is the piece that just went onto the website itself that Mike's been working on for some time, and that's first thing you got to know before you know where you're going is where you came from. Mike's done some of the history.
Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot of fun. I had it some months ago. I had to make a choice on whether I could. I was looking at reading Ulysses by James Joyce or War and Peace or the Encyclopedia Britannica. So I did kind of a combination of all those. Paul mentioned a while ago how many pages there were. On a Word document, which he sent me all the 54 years of tomes, and I read them line for line for line. And on a Word document, you can go into some, you click on and see how many words, and it was 2,600,700 words, plus or minus a few.
Somebody likes to write.
And everybody was awesome. Every bit of it was just so much fun. And some interviews with Paul helped flesh that out, because he is a walking encyclopedia for Lummi Island. He's the Lummi Island Britannica. And I had some interviews with my late and wonderful friend and nearby neighbor, Jerry Anderson, who filled me in on, many of you may not know this, I didn't, but we researched, and there was really a forerunner to the LICC and the LICA, and that was, we were a Chamber of Commerce one time. I mean, a real deal Chamber of Commerce, part of the Whatcom County chamber system. and they did some amazing things in the community and kind of set the tone for what Lummi Island would be. So I
had some
Yeah.
letterhead of that community associate, that Chamber of Commerce. I have some stationery.
Is there anything you don't have? Oh, gee, Paul, you're amazing. Paul's been, I want to know how many times over the years you said at the beginning, Greg, Paul Davis, secretary. How many times has that been said? Because Paul's been secretary for, I don't know, 3 days, three,
Treasurer.
I meant treasurer, 3 days older than water. I mean, it's an amazing string of how many years, Paul?
I don't know what else
Not-
to do.
Not quite 50 years.
Well-
Anyway, I took the highlights of the history and I'm just going to run through them with you for some of the fun things. There were 3 critical years in evolving into what's now called LICA, Lummi Island Community Association. The first was 1966. And then if you go back, go read the article that's posted today. It's really fun. We talked about the origins. I used the word precursor to where we are today. Was a meeting in 1966, I think on February 9th at the Willows Inn, where Larry Miller lived at that time. And 35 people attended. And here's the way it was written up, to form some kind of a community organization that could actively represent all island residents, stressing that this is an all-island club and urging all residents to join and contribute talents to the development of our community. That could be written today. It could be written right now. And that's 34 and 21, 55
50.
years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was interesting to dig that out from 55 years ago and see that's never changed. The result of that meeting was called the Lummi Island Community Club, LICC. There's some amusement in talking about the community club that I'll get to here in a minute. In 1982, the idea came up to incorporate as a nonprofit. So all the paperwork was done. Paul had everything to do with that because he was treasurer and dealing with the IRS and the state and the Fed. And it became a nonprofit officially in 1982. The fun part is that everybody on the island, including Paul and the Tome, kept calling it the community club even after it became LICA. And it was 24 years later that Sheila Marshall on the board recommended that they change the name and start calling it LICA. So it's really interesting. And after it became LICA, the first public notice of that, yeah, I mean, that's an official thing, by the way, becoming LICA. It's a document. I saw it with Paul's signature on it. There in 2006. And we had to actually literally change the name from Lummi Island Community Club, how it was incorporated, to Lummi Island Community Association on the paperwork with the government. But at the same time, we did that in 2006, I think January 30th, 2006. And it was not until the September issue of the Tome that it was first ever called the LICA. So all those years, regardless of the paperwork and the roller coaster of that, it was the Lummi Island Community Club. And the way it was finally proclaimed in that September issue, if you look it up, it was a huge headline. I typed it out. Huge headline said, Lummi Island Community Club is dead. Long live Lummi Island Community Association. And Paul Davis wrote this. And again, I'm showing kind of here how the arc has never changed. We feel that this new name, this is what Paul wrote in the Tome. We feel this new name better reflects our mission and what we've been doing for the last 40 years and plan to continue doing for the next 140 years. We hereby relinquish the acronym LICC to the Lummi Island Civic Club and the Lummi Island Community Church. So that was the changeover. The structure, tonight we have what, 8 about 9 members. The board consists of 9 members. It's been that way since the outset. Larry Miller, who was the instigator of all this, served led the initiative. He led the way for a short period of time, and then there was an election of officers. I didn't know this gentleman, Ray McFarland, was the first president. On the website, you can go in there and find Paul shared this with us, and we posted a list of all the presidents we listed? Yes, we did. All the presidents. And then we have a list of every person who's ever been a member of the board and the years they were members. And that was amazing. And Paul's been a member of the board, I think we said, how many years, Paul?
46 years.
46 years. And the next person in time spent on the board to him has a long way to go to catch up. I think it was 12 years. Larry Miller started the newsletter. This is my conclusion. This is one of the most fun parts of the whole history. Is Larry started this newsletter in July of that year they formed it, July 1966, and it was called the Lummi Island Community Club Newsletter. It became the Tome over the years. Good story behind that. And it was several other names that I won't go into, but you'll be able to read them online at some point soon. Paul told me he got bored with the term newsletter, so he started getting creative with the name of the newsletter, and has had many iterations in terms of the name of the newsletter. The two that I recall most recent, Paul, was most recent being in the 80s, I believe, but you did one called Poor Richard's Almanac, spelled with a K, the way it was.
I think it was a Poor Lummi Almanac. I think it was a poor, not Richards, Poor Lummi.
Okay, well, he was patterned after the famous author, and he used all his quotes, Benjamin Franklin quotes in that issue.
Sure.
And then another one that was dear to his heart came following that was Poor Will's Almanac for Lummi Island, and that was because of Will Rogers, and that had an interesting personal connection for Paul. He was raised in Ponca City, Oklahoma, and Will Rogers dedicated a famous statue there of the pioneer woman. And then Paul did this issue when a statue of Will Rogers was erected. I think you called that the Lariat. Poor Will's Lariat was the issue of the film. And because there's a bronze of Will Rogers with a lariat at the Oklahoma City airport that was dedicated. So anyway, those kinds of creativity, and you'll have a lot of fun reading the different names that he came up with for the tome over the years. But I wanted to read you this. Again, Paul wrote this in the tome, and I'm coming to a conclusion with the purpose of LICA. We're not a group of malcontents, do-gooders, reformers, hermits, or promoters. Nor was the club formed because we had an axe to grind, or because we felt community was beset with insurmountable problems that needed remedies. On the contrary, it was spawned by a group of islanders who loved this island and had a real desire to retain as much as possible of the charm and the beauty existing, and at the same time realizing that change and growth are inevitable. I would refer you there to the activities that we're involved in, and you'll see a lot of things that were established 50 years ago.
Mike,
yes.
I think Larry Miller wrote that. And an interesting thing about our first editor, Larry Miller wrote every word of the newsletter himself. Everything by him. He knew everybody in the island. He knew what everybody was doing. He knew everybody who went to the hospital or went on vacation. He knew everything about everybody. And
folks, go back and read those, because I know who was kissing who on the Lover's Bluff, and who fell off their boat on the beach, and
it's all in there.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's just unbelievable, really. And I thought I pulled that from yours. Whoever, again, he wrote it back then, and you would have written the same thing today. And it's been the unwavering commitment, really, to those established ideals after 55 years. I wrote here, as a community member and a community-minded entity, that means you and you and you and you, and I could do that 17 times on this screen. And LICA functions through, as Greg mentioned earlier, community volunteer projects, keyword being volunteer, no employees, no payment of any kind to board members or officers, no funding that we get revenues are drawn from to pay anybody, all goes back into community welfare. So I conclude this with saying volunteer, put your name in the history book that we're accumulating on the website. And that was kind of my summary of the history. I hope you'll go on to read the whole thing and then go visit those tomes. It's very entertaining, more entertaining than James Joyce was.
If I may mention one more volunteer, during the few weeks that I was incapacitated,
Elon,
Charles Papish took over my job of mowing the Heritage Trust Meadow for a few weeks.
we're
Well,
glad
my-
that you're
I might
healing.
mention too that Paul Lair Miller was the originator, and there were 2 other editors before you, if I recall. Is that correct?
Yes, yes, I'm the
Yeah.
3rd editor.
I won't say that Paul has been on Leica a long time, but when he first joined Leica, we didn't have any dirt on the island. They had to invent it to play in the mud.
I just wanted to tack on to what Mike said and show you where you find this on the website. If you go into community and about the association, you'll see this table of contents over here. And the thing he's talking about is this thing right here called the Tale of Leica. But also down here are the list of all the board members and everything else that are in there. And if you happen to head down here and you hit on this about the tome, it'll bring up the information on the tome articles that we are floated in so far. And you can actually search, you can use the search system and type in a person's name. And if it's in any of the current tomes or mentioned anywhere on the website, it will come up. And we haven't loaded all of them, but they will get there eventually.
Alan, you mentioned that your goal is to keep your tome file up to within 6 months or 6
Right.
issues.
Right.
I think you could bring that up to maybe 2 issues back.
Well, we'll talk about that in the board meeting.
That's not important.
Appreciate the input.
Let's move on. One of the last items I've got. We had during last month's board meeting, a request specifically to have dog poop bags down on Lego Bay. Well, that was an interesting thought. That's one little area of community. And we started talking about dog poop bags, and do we as an organization want to not only distribute dog poop bags, but if you do that, then generally you wind up with a garbage can, then somebody gets to empty the garbage cans. And, you know, we're an island of volunteers, but I didn't hear anybody volunteer for that kind of work. Matter of fact, I heard just the opposite. So we did some homework. We went on out there and did a little bit of research. Interestingly, the county, Whatcom County, has an official website, Scoop the Poop Toolkit. It's available for all residents. Let's toss that on up there. It's absolutely amazing. Surprised me to start with. Oh, look, you can get a complete toolkit yourself, bags, the whole thing. And every one of us on the island could have this or sign up an organization or something or other else. So each portion of the community, if they want to do that, that's great. So we're going to make that available on the website and we're going to promote it. But then I had to go one step further. I stumbled across a video out on YouTube and I laughed so hard, I cried for a couple of minutes. It just tore me up. I was laughing so hard. When somebody captures the real essence of what you're trying to convey as a message, it's just a delight. I liked it so much, I shared it with the board, but then I got a hold of the production company. The production company, you know, I said, hey, can you license this? Can we use it? It needs a little modification because it's made for Michigan, upstate Michigan. This is where they made it. And they said, well, we'll get you in touch with the people whose project is, we just only shot the film and we put it on out there on YouTube. Today, I got a letter from Tiffany Sprague, the vice chair of the Regional Stormwater Protection Team that developed this video. Wanted to send a note to acknowledge that Danger Bird Production forwarded along your request. Our group is still exploring what it means for folks to utilize our content, as we are excited and a tad nervous about the precedent this may set. I just wanted to let you know our executive board meets next week, and this will be a topic of conversation then. And then our full team meets the second Wednesday in June, where a decision will be made. If you're able to hold on for a few more weeks, that would be greatly appreciated. Thank you, Tiffany. So the writers of this, those that put it all together, commissioned it, paid for it in upstate Michigan. It's just wonderful. Gave us this great little video. Can we throw that up?
Absolutely.
Do we have sound?
You should. No. No sound?
No sound.
No.
You almost don't need it.
True, you almost don't. I don't know why I'm not getting the, hold on a second. Oh, it's probably because I'm not sharing computer audio. Suppress background, mute, it's a quirk with Zoom.
Yes, it
Hold on a
is.
second. Let's see, silence notifications. Let me see if that allows it to come through. Who knows?
Please stand by. We're experiencing technical difficulties.
You got it?
No sound.
No. What's the
Do we
name?
have sound? Do we have sound?
No.
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 There's no.
Yeah,
proof.
So,
Mary.
so this is
Yeah.
Elizabeth here. I believe the city of Bellingham and Whatcom County did some of these. I've just tuned in and out. I had to do something else, so I didn't hear the lead into this discussion. But if you want videos like this, I believe Whatcom County and the city of Bellingham have already done these sorts of things, and you might want to contact somebody there.
Yes, exactly. There's some statistics, and that's all that we wanted to edit on into this. And that's very easy to do. But if you get a chance, go to YouTube. There is no poop fairy. It's a wonderful little video. We may wind up using it on our website, tailored a little bit for Lummi Island. It's just absolute hoot.
Yeah, there are other, we'll have the links. We can at least link to it. I did want to say that there are many versions of this. So I think there is, somebody did it in the past and it's been disseminated. I found like 6 different versions of this so far with just different actors and people in different areas. It's a very interesting concept, and it's something that we could probably do very well. And you mentioned Bellingham. Yes, I'll let you out in a minute. I'm being shoved. You can see the tail wag. But I'm also a member of the Bellingham producers, video producers, and you know, we might be able to get a group of people, those people together to work on this. Anyway, that's all I have to say. I'm going to mute and do the dog.
We have only one thing left, and don't leave quite yet because it could be you.
I want to say something before you do that.
I'll give you 90
I can hear it.
to stay. Paul Davis. Mike, you got
Yeah, I want to say something before. Is that the last thing?
Yes, it will be.
Okay. Just all I want to say is that, first of all, it's a privilege to be on the board, and I appreciate that. And it's been really fun getting to know all of you over the years that I've lived here, but really fun the last 16 or 17 months that I've been on the board working with you, and I'm grateful for it. And I really admire the energy that goes into this community effort. And thank you for that.
Well, we wish you the best and thank you very much for your contribution to the board. Paul Davis.
I'll be around. Thank you.
Did you reach into that?
Yes, we've already talked about that. You'll still be busy with us.
You ain't getting out that easy.
One more thing.
Yes, sir.
I have not been able to keep up with our new elections process and who's on the board and who isn't. With someone, maybe Mary, probably you're on the nominating committee, send me an email of all the current board members so I can get it into the tome.
I will do that for you, Paul.
Paul, there
Yes.
will be a meeting subsequent to this of all board members that we must elect officers.
Oh,
And
that's right. We haven't done that yet.
we have not
Yeah.
done that yet. That is
We
a
usually
board
do it at-
issue, closed
wonder-
board issue.
I wonder who the next editor will be.
Yeah.
No, that's not a board position, Paul.
Oh,
That's yours. You aren't getting off that easy.
So if you would reach into that can of magic and shake it around.
can you hear that? And I'm not supposed to look in there when I draw it. I'll fumble around and pick one out.
Reach
And-
into that sinkhole.
And it is, the light is bad here.
147.
140, I'm gonna write that down.
147.
Okay, back in the can, so I can draw it again next time. And here is the list. Back. 147. Nate and Rena Clement.
Wow.
No.
I don't know them.
Wow.
What do you mean, wow?
It pays to be here.
It
That means
pays
it's
to be a
9
Tome subscriber because only the Tome subscribers are in the bucket.
That's right.
That's it. So next month, $95.
Yes.
Board members, if you would, please stay. The rest of you, thank you very much. We're concluding tonight's meeting. We may end the recording, Mary. Thank you very much and good night.